You've got a nation fighting for its very existence, a global superpower completely changing its game plan, and a brand new deal that, honestly, could rewrite the rules for international alliances. Today, we're diving deep into this landmark agreement between the United States and Ukraine and what it really means for the future. It's a tough question, right? But it's really at the heart of everything we're talking about today. Because when your back is against the wall and survival is the only thing that matters, the choices you have to make get incredibly difficult. And the costs? Well, they can be astronomical. So here's the bottom line, the huge shift that changes everything. The whole dynamic has been turned on its head. The era of traditional foreign aid, giving support for strategic reasons, in this case, that's over. It's been replaced by something much more direct, a transactional relationship. Basically, minerals for security. Okay, so what does this new transactional reality actually look like? What does it mean? Well, it's a massive, massive departure from the way US foreign policy has worked for decades. For the longest time, the thinking behind foreign aid was often, a bit indirect. It was about building alliances, promoting certain values, gaining influence. This new model, it is explicitly commercial. It treats foreign policy almost like a business contract, where the US gets very real, very tangible economic benefits in exchange for the security support a partner nation desperately needs. All right, so let's get into the nitty-gritty. How does this thing actually work? Let's break down the mechanics of this incredibly complex and pretty controversial agreement. On the surface, it all starts right here, with something called the UUGRIF. This is the public part of the deal, the official framework that everyone can see. It sets up a partnership to invest in and profit from Ukraine's huge mineral and energy wealth, all officially done under the umbrella of reconstruction. And the scale of what we're talking about here is just immense. It's not just one or two things. The deal covers a list of 57 different strategic minerals and hydrocarbons. This includes some of the most valuable resources on the planet. Lithium for all our batteries, titanium for aerospace, and a whole bunch of rare earth elements that are absolutely critical for all modern tech. So for the United States, this boils down to three key advantages. First up, royalties. The US gets a cut of the income from a partnership that's funded by Ukraine's own resource money. Then you've got investment rights, which basically means the US gets first dibs on investing in new projects. And finally, offtake rates. Okay, this one is huge. It gives the US the right to buy the minerals that come out of the ground, locking in its supply chain for these critical materials. And this is where it gets really interesting, because you have the public agreement, the URIF, which sounds like a nice strategic partnership. But then there's the other side of the coin, a secret agreement, a limited partnership agreement that contains the real operational details. And that one, no one gets to see it. Which brings us to the most controversial piece of this entire puzzle, this confidential agreement that really decides who gets what and who's really in charge. So that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? What's actually in that fine print? Without seeing the final LP agreement, all the crucial details about who runs the show, who contributes what, and how the profits are split, it's all a mystery. What did Ukraine actually have to sign on the dotted line? Well, an early draft of this agreement was leaked, and wow, the contents were absolutely explosive. Get this, it proposed that all $300 billion in past US aid would count as America's investment, plus interest. It also gave the US a golden share, which is basically total control and veto power. And it said any money made would first go to paying back the US, before a single cent went to actually rebuilding Ukraine. As you can imagine, the leak caused an absolute firestorm in Kyiv. Now, to be fair, sources on both sides insist that the final signed deal is much more balanced, that it's a real partnership. But here's the massive catch. It's still confidential. So even though those crazy initial terms were apparently negotiated away, we're also left in the dark about how the power really works in the final version. So you might be asking yourself, why on earth would Ukraine agree to a deal with so many red flags? And to understand that, you have to try and see it from their perspective. This is a nation making an unbelievable high-stakes gamble just to survive. And this poll right here, it tells you almost everything you need to know. When you're facing a brutal, relentless war, nearly 73% of your people support having foreign troops on your soil. This isn't just about some minerals deal. It's about a deep, desperate need for security. It's an existential drive to end the war and protect your country no matter what it takes. And sometimes a comment from a random person online just perfectly captures the human side of all this geopolitics. This one, from a Reddit user, really hits home. It speaks to the incredible pressure on Ukraine's leaders, trying to find a path while being squeezed between an invading enemy and a powerful but very transactional ally. It's really important to remember that this minerals deal isn't just happening on its own, in a vacuum. It's the economic backbone for something even bigger and way more difficult: the ongoing negotiations to try and find a lasting peace. So there's a 20-point peace framework on the table, and the word is that it's 90% agreed. I mean, that sounds incredible, right? Amazing progress. But that final 10%, that's where the single biggest, most difficult issue of the entire conflict is hiding. When it comes to the question of territory, President Zelensky's position is completely clear, totally unequivocal. He's speaking for a whole nation that has fought and died for every single inch of its land. He calls it a sacred inheritance, something that belongs to generations of Ukrainians and is simply not on the table. And right there, you see the fundamental clash. While Zelensky calls it the land of our nation, President Trump describes the exact same issue as unresolved but getting closer. That huge gap in language right there shows you just how incredibly delicate these peace talks really are. So let's zoom out for a second. What does this deal mean beyond just Ukraine? Is this just a one-time thing, unique solution for a unique crisis? Or are we looking at a blueprint for the future of American foreign policy? I mean, the potential implications here are truly profound. This could be the start of a major shift away from formal public treaties, the kind that are debated and approved by Congress, and toward these confidential business-style contracts negotiated behind closed doors. It's a model you could easily see being used in other resource-rich conflict zones, and that would fundamentally change America's role in the world. And some critics are not mincing words. This analysis from Georgetown Law is pretty blunt. It brings up some really deep ethical questions about using a country's desperation as leverage. Is this just smart, pragmatic politics, making sure the US gets a return on its investment? Or is it something much, much darker? And really, that's what it all boils down to. Is this deal an outlier? Something born out of a uniquely desperate situation? Or are we watching the dawn of a new era, when where alliances aren't built on shared values anymore, but on cold, hard transactions? The answer to that question